Well, hello again. I am one student, Mr. Reeves, back with you. As promised, we are going to work our way through the Desmos activity, matching box plots, histograms, and summary statistics. I did want to let you know one hint. I find it helpful on these card matching activities when there's so many to reduce the size of my browser screen. So I've gone ahead and I've zoomed down to 75%. You don't have to do that, but I think it makes it easier. So as you can see, when you start this activity, the cards are just kind of randomly placed. And I find it's helpful to organize them. You don't have to organize them the same way. But if you want to follow along what I'm doing, I'm going to show you what I did. In fact, I'm going to skip over. I cheated a little bit. I've already arranged them. I moved all of the histograms to the top, all of the box plots in the middle, and all of the summary statistics, the mean, the median, and the standard deviation down at the bottom. All right, so that's what I've done so far. I didn't want to make you watch me do that, so I went ahead and did that ahead of time. All right, so now I'd like to organize them further. All right, so as you may remember from the previous video, we have this situation here, right? We're in the middle, we have symmetric. On the right, we have skewed left, and on the left, we have skewed right. So that's how I'd like to organize my histograms to start off. So again, I want the skewed right on the left, the skewed left on the right, and ones that are more symmetric in the middle. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here. So I'm looking at this one and I'm thinking that one looks to be skewed to the left. So I'm going to move that one over, and then this one over here jumps out at me as also skewed to the left. All right, so now as far as skewed to the right, this one I just had seems to be skewed to the right. So I'm going to slide all of these over. And while I came over this one, which looks to me like it's flipping me off, that one also appears to be skewed to the right. All right, so here we go. So if I am not mistaken, so these two here, again, are skewed to the left because it trails down to the left, which means more of the data is on the right. These two here are skewed to the right, which means the data trails to the right and more of the data is on the left. And then these ones are kind of more symmetrical, not completely. This one's kind of weird here. I don't know how we want to organize these in any particular way. But we can certainly, look a little closer when we get there. I'm not quite sure which one's the most symmetric, but these are definitely more symmetric, although this one is symmetric in a weird way, kind of reverse symmetry to what we're used to. All right, so now let's try to match the box plots to these. All right, so hopefully right off the bat you can see the skewed ones. So again, we're looking for those tails or those whiskers, right? So here I'm saying, oh, this has definitely got to go over here. And this one has definitely got to go over here. All right, this one also, I can see that whisker or that tail off there on the left, and this one on the right. All right, and then again, I have a mixture here in the middle. Okay, all right. So then, again, we haven't matched up. I'm not matching, saying these match the box plots where they are. I'm just organizing them so far into three groups, right? Again, we have our more symmetric in the middle, we have our skewed to the left, and we have our skewed to the right. All right, so what about these ones down here? What about the summary statistics? All right, well, think about it. What's going to be true about this side over here? The mean and the median are going to have to be what? Higher or lower? What are these bars going to do here? They're going to lift up the mean and the median and make them higher, right? So I'm going to go ahead and take a look down here, and I see right here that that has a high mean, and this one over here also has a high mean. Both of those also have high medians, right? Okay, now I'm going to look just the opposite. I'm looking for lower means and medians. Let's see here. I've got a 38 8 for that median. And let's see, this median is 41. Those are the lowest two medians and means. And then these ones again are all hovering around 50, right? I mean, this one is, if we're actually going to go absolute order, let's see here, right? There we go. So did I go from smallest to biggest? Nope, that one there and that one there. All right, so I just organized there the means from smallest to biggest, and the medians are pretty close. You'll notice the medians actually on these are all exactly the same. Interesting. Okay, so again, though, I'm not saying anything particularly matches up so far, but I've got them into those three groups. All right, so I'm going to encourage you right now to stop the video and see what you can do with what you've got. So if you were just following along with me, see what you can do from there. And then if you get stuck, come back. All right, so I'm going to pause just a second here. Okay, well, I don't know if you left and came back or if you just stuck around, but let's see what else we can do here. All right, so we agree. Let's start over here. These are both skewed to the right, right? Now, for me, one of the easiest things to match up, and this won't always work, and we'll see this in just a couple minutes, is to look at the minimum and the maximum, right? These two have a general shape. Also, we could look at where the data is. So if you take a look here, the maximum on this one is 100, and the maximum on this one is 100. 100 and 100. So that doesn't help us. But look at where this one stops, right? This one stops here at 20, and this one stops at 20, but this one goes all the way to 10. So we're kind of lucky in this case because that lets me know, wow, I can actually match these up now, right? Now, we could also take, whoops, what happened there? That's not what I wanted. There we go. Was it going to fix it for me? There we go. All right. Why does it keep doing that? No, I want it on the bottom. There we go. Okay, so we also could see if let's just pretend for a minute that those weren't the same. All right, do you see a couple other things? Do you see how this one trails off here a little more than this one does, right? This one's a little more spread from there. All right, and you see right here we got a lot more data compact in this area. So that box right there is pretty small, right? You could also see, take a look at the median, right? Well, the median on this one is 40 and the median on this one is 40, but we've got more data to the right of the median here, right? This one here, this is going to pull the median more to the left as far as the data goes. All right. So, but honestly, in this case, just looking at the maximum and the minimum did it for us. All right. Let's hold off on these bottom two cards for a minute. All right, so now let's jump way over to the other side. And you could see right here that that strategy of looking at the maximum and the minimum is going to help us because look at what this one does, 20 to 90, right? Take a look at this one. That clearly doesn't match up. So that one, again, we got kind of lucky here. That one goes, grab it. There we go, 20 to 90. And that one grabs on right there because that one goes all the way from 0 to 100. But again, let's take a closer look just at some other things we can match up. Do you see how this is spread out here at the end? Look how long that tail is, right? See how data like, it's spread. There's not tall bars here, and this is much more compact. Remember, the taller the bars you see, the more narrow the box is going to be. Do you see how narrow this box is? And you see how we have these tall bars? And again, that's going to pull the median this way because we have more data to the right, right? Okay, all right. Now for the trickier ones, because these ones in the middle are definitely more challenging because we don't have that skewness to help us out. All right, but again, for me, the easiest, let's go maximum and minimum. And I'm looking at this one right here, going from 20 to 80. And if I go down here, there it is right there, right? So I'm going to flip these around. No, I don't want those connected. Right there, that one's going to go with that one, right? From 20 to 80. If we take a look at, whoops, come on. All right, you'll see that this data here is more compact on the histogram, and this data here is more compact on the box plot. So again, if you were listening on the last video and you're thinking standard deviation, what should be true about the standard deviation on this one, say, versus this one? All right, so let's see here. 0 to 100, 0 to 90, 0 to 100. All right, so here we go. Here's our 0 to 90. Again, we lucked out. Those are going to match up, right? Okay, so now I've got two that both go from 0 to 100. So which is which and how are we going to know? What do you think? They both go from 0 to 100. They both go from 0 to 100. What's going to allow us to choose between these two? So what differences do you see? Let's go ahead and compare here. All right. Well, when we look here, you'll see the bar is higher on this side and the bar is higher on this side, where these ones are more kind of average across, right? Let's take a look at the median on this one is 50, and the median on this one is just about 50. So that doesn't really help us out too much, because if I cut this in half, yeah, that looks to be about half there and half there, and that one looks to be about half there and half there. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at these two and see what we can see. Gosh, they're really close, aren't they? What do you notice about this one, right? What do you notice? Do you see how that one's a little more wide, right? See how that one's a little more spread out and that one's a little less spread out? This one looks a little more symmetrical, doesn't it? All right. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think maybe like that? What about the bar length here? Do you see how this bar is a little bit longer? This bar is a little bit shorter. It's more compressed. Do you see how these are higher, right? And you see how these ones, it's a little more compressed. So, and this is a little more spread out. When you remember, when you see higher bars, that should be a shorter distance there. Those quartiles are more compact because you're getting more data in, right? So these are definitely wider as compared, right? These are definitely wider as compared to those. So this was a little more tricky, but I'm going to go ahead and throw that one on there and throw that one on there. All right, because again, I'm looking at the spread. I didn't get a lot from the medians. I didn't get anything from the minimum and maximum. But here it's really the spread in those quartiles. And I'm saying these are a little more compact in the middle, and these are a little more compact on the end, right? That's my big key. I'm looking here at the end here. Look how those spreads out there. All right, okay, so we are 2/3 of the way done. So now we're going to look at the mean and the median and the standard deviation, and hopefully we can knock these out. So again, I encourage you, if you want to go ahead and stop the video and see how you can do at matching them up. Okay, if not, or you came back, let's go ahead and check your answers. So let's take a look at these. All right, this has the higher mean. This has the higher mean and a slightly higher median, right? The standard deviation is a little bit lower. Now, if I were to ask you what's the difference between these two, the biggest difference is this one has one tall bar, right? And these ones have more taller bars here. This tall bar is between 30 and 40, which is also the tallest bar here. But do you see how we have more here, right? And we have a little less here. So what's going to happen on this one? Which of these is going to have the higher median, do you think? Which of these is going to have the higher median? I think this one's going to have the higher median, right? So, and then what about the mean? What's going to happen to the mean? Well, what's going to happen over here? These higher scores is going to pull that mean up, right? So this one actually has the higher median and the higher mean because we got some higher scores here than this one is. So this is going to go ahead and join those, right? And this one's going to go on there. Okay, now standard deviation is really close, but if I were to ask you out of these two, which one looks more spread out to you? All right, This one's a little more spread out, isn't it? So it's not a lot more spread out, but just a little more spread out. So it has a slightly higher standard deviation than that one. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good about those two. You feeling pretty good? All right, I'm going to skip over here. All right, so if we take a look at these, man, those means are really close. Those means are really close. Hopefully you learned how to find the average or how to estimate the mean, how to estimate the mean from the histogram. If you didn't do that, you need to know how to do that. Um, but an estimation, pulling those out, I don't know that our estimation is going to be significant enough that we could tell those apart. But let's take a look at the median. The median on this one is 74. So it has the higher median versus this one. The median is only 71. But even more than that, take a look at the standard deviation. The standard deviation on this one is 30, and the standard deviation on this one is only 17. Remember, standard deviation is a measure of spread from the mean. How far are we from the mean, right? So here we are. We have a mean of 68 right here. How far do we spread from that on this one versus how far on this one, right? If I put a mark right there at 68, this goes up to 90 that direction and down to 20, right? This one goes up to 100 and down to 0. So which one has the higher spread? This one definitely has the higher spread, right? So I'm going to go here with the higher standard deviation, and this one here with the lower standard deviation, right? And the median here, this data right here is going to pull down the mean, and it's also going to pull the median over just ever so slightly. I've got more data over here. Can you see I got a little higher data? So that's going to pull the median that way. All right, we are almost done. We just have these last four. We have the summary statistics to match up. Okay, so if you take a look, wow, three of these all have the exact same median at 50. Wait, this one has a median of 53. So if we look at the box plot, if we look at the box plot, which one has a median of 53? That looks like a median of 50. That looks like a median of 50. That looks like a median of 50. They all look like a median of 50, right? But if you look a little closer at that one, right, do you see how it's actually above 50? So that was really nice of them, wasn't it? So I'm going to go ahead and slide this one over, and I think that one's going to go right there. All right, with a median of 53. All right. So the other thing to notice about this one out of these standard deviations, right? 20, 33, well, basically 34 if we round up, and 16. This one has the highest standard deviation, right? What's our mean? Our mean is 52. Look how much data we have spread out from there. Do you see that big spread? So the standard deviation also is a confirmation that we did that one correctly. All right, guys, 3 to go. And man, they're close. Look at those medians. Look at those means. All three medians of 50, right? And what do we have? We have means that are between 49.4 and 50.32. Again, super duper close. So let's take a look at these standard deviations. All right, 16. That is by far the smallest standard deviation. And what did we say? Standard deviation is a measure of how far the data wanders from the mean, right? The more compact the data, the smaller standard deviation. So if I were to ask you to look at these three, whether you look at the histograms or whether you look at the box plots, which one is the most compact? Right here, right? Between 20 and 80. Correct. Let's take a look here. Does that seem to match? Do we have a median of 50? Would it make sense that if we found the mean of these, it would be at right about 50? And that standard deviation is small. It only goes from 20 up to 80, right? We're only going 30 in either direction. Oh, this is exciting. We're down to the final two. All right. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. All right. standard deviation of 20, standard deviation of 33. So let's just look out of these two, which is more compact towards the mean. Which one has more data closer to the mean? Now, if you're saying, well, wait, this one goes from 0 to 100 and that one goes from 0 to 100, you're right. They both go from 0 to 100. But look at the data towards the middle, right? Which one has more data crammed towards the middle? It's this one, right? This one does. So it's going to have the smaller standard deviation, and this one's going to have the bigger standard deviation. Look at this one. It is spread out. It's just, right? It's across the board here. Here we are definitely more towards the middle, right? That standard deviation is a lot closer. In fact, these two probably could be closer together that way, right? Standard deviation, well, I don't know how we want to organize these. These ones are kind of weird, right? But those two go together, and you could say those two go together. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I don't know about you. I know this was much harder than I thought it initially was going to be. But if you were feeling a little bit down because you didn't know how to do it, first of all, I hope this helped you and you learned a lot. Second thing, take a look right up here, and what does that say? Advanced placement statistics. All right, so we are doing some heavy duty statistics here that if you take AP stats in high school, now you could say, this is easy. I did this with Mr. Reeves when I was in 8th grade. All right, well, I hope that was helpful, everybody, and I hope it definitely was worthwhile. It definitely will help you with tomorrow's lesson if you took time to do this today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.